So, picking up where we left off, perhaps it would be worth it talking about how the game actually plays.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's familiar with the Yakuza series and, of course, naturally loves it, unless there's something wrong with their brain, will know that it's much more of it's a kind of a JRPG with a sort of light sprinkling of the sublime streets of rage. So you kind of wander around in the overworld, in the field of Kamurocho, and you're, as I said earlier, you're randomly assaulted by perverts and drunks, and you beat their faces into a different shape.
In a lot of ways, it kind of reminds me of Shenmue.
Yeah. Well, I understand that it in some way grew out of Shenmue, although I'm sort of hazy on the details of that. I didn't really care for Shenmue that much beyond its sort of dubious taste for sailors, which has given me many hours of enjoyment. Even today, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just chuckle about it. It's not as funny in Japanese, I'm afraid, but
No.
but yeah, I mean the main difference, apart from in the structure where it's much more kind of mission based, comes in the fact that the free roaming element is kept within combat, so they're no longer segregated into two areas.
Okay.
And you don't have quite the sort of range of. Again, I've not messed around in the skill trees. I'm sure we'll discover absolutely bucket loads of new things in there, but the sort of the basic thing is a little bit more kind of not button bashy, but more kind of direct shooting at large crowds of enemies rather than juggling around. I don't know what was the largest amount that they managed to put in Yakuza 4. It's about 6 or 7 people at one go. I mean, here you'll quite happily have 30 or 40 of them rushing at you.
Yeah, I suppose it's a little easier to program 30 zombies that have got very limited movesets than programming in, say, 10 independently thinking street thugs.
Yeah, they're required to have their own AI, which you know they weren't going to beat you at chess or anything, but they were they were capable. You know, they'd grapple you from behind and things like that. Which, I mean, one of the joys of Yakuza 4 was that it managed to insert new and terrible ways to commit awful physical violence on people, no matter what they were doing to you. So if someone grabbed you from behind, you were able to headbutt them until their nose fell off.
I think one of the other joys in Yakuza is just how, I don't want to say it's slapstick, but it's got its own sense of humour. Like, you know, they're in this video store and they enter in a code on the cash register, and these little steps come out that are actually housing, you know, a stash of weapons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Yakuza exists in a world which, I mean, its defining characteristics for me, apart from brutal fist crunching, knuckle cracking violence, is its sort of warmth and its sense of humour. It's you know, I can't speak to any of the recent English translations. I played the first one, and it disgusted me so much that I actually left the country. But the dialogue I've always found to be kind of witty and memorable. But I mean, particularly Akiyama and his kind of constant snide taunting of people who are blatantly below him.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire of his interactions with other Yakuza he's not a Yakuza, with Yakuza in Yakuza 4 was sort of condescending to them until they decided to fight him and then beating the hell out of them.
Yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be anything so far of quite the startling brutality of some of the heat moves that made it into number 4. Like, I vividly recall the first time I saw Akiyama's upgraded wall kick move, where he will kick somebody in the face 11 times and then stamp on their head. And I'm sure that as we get further into the game, I mean, it's going to be a 40-hour experience if it's anything like the previous ones, without fanning around in the side quests too much. I'm sure there'll be plenty of things which will make you weep with the humanity of it, as there were in number 4.
So I gather one of the big changes with this game, although it isn't present in the demo, is multiplayer.
Yeah. Again, as you say, it's not present in the demo, so I can't speak to exactly what form it takes, but the videos that I've seen released have made a feature of the fact that there appears to be... As you can see, you're accompanied by a little guy here, who is an AI character who you're able to give a certain number of orders to. It basically sort of amounts to do what you like, stand there, or heal yourself. Mm-hmm. But it's possible over an internet connection for another player to take control of that character, and I'm not sure to what extent they participate in the campaign, or I mean, I've seen footage of Akiyama and Kiryu fighting side by side, so I don't know if you get free choice of characters or what. One of the features recently detailed in a trailer was the ability to build up a team, as you saw those guys looking down in the dodgy video store. There were about 4 or 5 of them. You were able to build these people up and actually send them to participate in a boot camp with a African American military instructor by the name of, well, he's called Gady in the katakana because they don't know how to spell Gary, but or pronounce it. But he's a rip-off of a guy called Billy, who's a famous health and fitness instructor in Japan, and he will help your team members to become stronger and better zombie fighters.
Now, rip-off's perhaps a little stronger. It's homage, isn't it? Now, I just saw there that you can do team heat moves.
Yes, you can. Within certain kind of distance constraints, it seems to be a little bit kind of dodgy about when it wants to trigger them in certain confined areas, like down in the sewers here, it's fine. But yeah, once you've filled up your green heat bar, which you can see under the health at the top there, which fills up very quickly, you can order your teammate to fling grenades in the direction of the enemy, and then a quick time event will give you the opportunity to shoot them. Why that's necessary, since they are grenades, I don't know, but it looks cool.
Perhaps the fuse is too long or something.
Perhaps it is. Or
damn it, Gary, you didn't shorten the fuse!
I think more likely they're just bottles of aerosol that they bought in a convenience store and wrote grenade on. You know, that would sort of chime with my experience of the Yakuza personally, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, that provides a very satisfying sort of huge explosion, which in a playthrough that we've not recorded here, I did actually manage to blow myself up at one point, and was propelled about 20 feet through a shop window with my hair on fire, which was actually quite funny. And I don't know, again, to how those are coordinated in multiplayer, whether they can be. I presume they can. But a lot of the videos have not really given a lot of details so far. It's just sort of been among the features that they listed. Say multiplayer.
Now here we're seeing
Yes.
the first of the Left 4 Dead
Homages.
Homages, yes.
Yes.
Now, what are these characters called? Because they're called boomers. in
These
Left 4
characters
Dead.
are called metabol, which refers to metabolic syndrome, which is what Japanese people say in order to be polite when you're a fat bastard.
I see.
So yeah, their basic selling point is that they are fat, and they I don't believe they will release huge quantities of noxious gas from their big fat belly.
So it's not exactly the same as a boomer.
Not
which-
exactly the same, and
Which spews you with bile that attracts zombies.
correct.
It's just...
Yeah. And you'll see what they've done here is they've managed to incapacitate my charming Yakuza companion, who's now walking around clutching his stomach and, I don't know, probably asking for noodles or something. And he doesn't seem to be in any particular danger. Apart from that, he's just sort of walking around in circles moaning. I think I shot him as well, possibly.
So it's nice to see that, you know, they've taken inspiration from Resident Evil there by giving you a useless AI partner.
Yes, well, he's much less useless than Chevrolet Alomar, who was just a complete turnip, wasn't she? But no, he's actually quite. I mean, for one thing, he's got huge numbers of grenades and a great shirt.
And I see now that they are doing the traditional zombie game thing of going down into the sewers.
Yes, it's a thing that's become popular recently in Yugogotok, allowing you to explore the sewers where there's not really anything there. Although there are shanty towns of homeless people who will exchange gunk that you find on the floor for coins.